Hello, friends of Sudoku, and welcome to an evil level puzzle by Sudoku.com. When I say evil, it is not my classification, it is a classification by Sudoku.com, whatever that means. I don't know, but this is what they say. Whatever the classification, though, let's enjoy solving this puzzle together, if we can, that is. So the first thing I see is the one blocking up and the one blocking down here. So here is a 1. There's a 6 blocking down here and a 6 blocking up and a 6 blocking over. So here goes a 6. 3 blocks up here, 3 blocks over, and here is a 3. A 5 blocks down here and a 5 blocks over here. So one of these is a 5, and therefore one of these must be a 5. Likewise, a 4 blocks over here and a 4 blocks over here. So here's a 4, and therefore one of these two squares must be a 4. So this 5 blocking over and this down makes this a 5, and these two squares have to be a 2 and a 9. Somehow my eye catches this square, and I'm sure it's going to be a 3 because I can easily see that it cannot be a 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or a 9, so it's got to be a 3, as I said. Now there's a 6 and a 7 blocking this square, and there's a 6 and a 7 blocking this square. So guess what's got to go in these two squares? If you say a 6 and a 7, you are going to be right. That makes these two squares a 2 and a 9. We have a 2 blocking over here, so the 9 must go here and the 2 here, and therefore this also must be a 9. Now we have this 2 blocking up and this 2 blocking over, so a 2 must go here or here. And that means that these two squares can't be 2, and this 2 prohibits the 2 from going in any of these two squares, and this 2 blocks this square. So here's a 2. Now a 2 must go here or here. These 4 empty squares now must be a 1, 7, 8, and a 9. There's a 1, 8, and a 9 blocking this square, which therefore must be a 7. And this must be a 6 because it's the last digit that we need for the column. One of these must be a 9 because the 9 blocks this square. So yes, a 9 must go here or here. We already have a 9 blocking this square, and this 9 blocks this square. So a 9 goes here in the top row. These two now must be an 8 and a 2. A 2 blocks over, so an 8 goes here and a 2 goes here. A 6 and a 4 here, and a 2 and a 5 here. I can't place any of those at the moment. One of these two squares must be a 6. We can say this because these two 6s block here, and these two 6s block here. So one of these must be a 6. We have a 4 here and a 4 here, and they block across like so. We have a 4 here that blocks up, so here's a 4. The 4s here block down, so one of these must be a 4. And that means that if we want a 4 at all in this row 8, and we do want a 4, of course, it can't go here or here, and this 4 stops it from going here, so a 4 must go here. And that opens a slot for a 3. We have a 3 blocking across here, 1 blocking down, another 1 blocking down, so here comes a 3. And that 3 takes away a possible candidate square for a 1. So now we got these two 1s blocking across, and that means that a 1 must go here. And this 1 conveniently blocks up, and this 1 blocks over, so a 1 goes here. These two squares now must be a 7 and a 5. Remember how we said that one of these two squares must be a 6? I want to recap There's a 6 here, and they block these two squares from being a 6. There's a 6 here, and they also block these two squares from being a 6. So to place a 6 at all in column 1, it needs to go here. There is no other square available. This 6 blocks over, and this 6 blocks down, so a 6 must go here. This square now must be a 4 because it's the last digit necessary to complete the column. These two 4s block across, these two 4s block down, so a 4 goes here. We need a 5, 8, and a 9 to complete these three squares. There's a 9 blocking over here and a 9 blocking down, so this must be a 9. This is now a 5 and an 8. For column 1, we need to find a 5, 7, 8, and a 9. There's a 5 and a 7 here, making this a 7, an 8 or a 9. There's a 5 and a 7 here, making this an 8 or a 9. There's already a 9 blocking this square, so the 8 must go here, and the 9 must go here. This is now a 7 or a 5, and this is a 7 or a 5. I'm looking at these rows and columns here because they are quite restricted. This 2 blocks down, this 2 blocks over, and therefore a 2 must go here or here, and therefore it can't go here. And that severely restricts the digits that can go here, because if the 2 can't go here and the 1 can't go, and the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and an 8 can't go here, the only digit that can actually go here has got to be a 9. These two digits now have to be a 2 and a 5, and this is also a 2 and a 5, so this is not going to be a 2 and a 5, because we would have a unique rectangle issue, and we don't want those, and most puzzles don't have those because then they would be invalid. So let me keep that in mind and see if I can find a solution to this issue without using my knowledge of unique rectangles. So let me continue looking at the 9s. This 9 blocks up, this 9 blocks over, this 9 blocks over, so a 9 must go here. And this 9 now blocks up, this 9 blocks up, this 9 blocks over, so here is a 9. And this square therefore must be a 1, which blocks down. This one blocks up, so here comes a 1, which blocks over, and we've got a couple of 1s blocking up and down and 1 blocking over here, so here's a 1. A 3 and an 8 for these two squares. A 3 blocks here, so an 8 goes here and the 3 here. This 8 makes this a 5 and this an 8. This therefore cannot be a 5, it must be a 2, and this must be a 5. Blocking over, blocking down, 5 goes here. The last square here must be a 2. 3 squares here must be an 8 and a 3 and a 7. So the 3 blocks over, therefore this is going to be a 3, and this is now an 8 and a 7. The 3 blocks up, all the way up, 3 blocks all the way up, and this 3 blocks over, so here comes a 3. Here we must have a 7 and an 8. There's an 8 in the row, making this a 7, and this an 8. Therefore this must be a 7. 3 squares here must be a 7, 8, and a 2. We have a 7 and a 2 blocking here, so this is an 8. And these now must be a 2 and a 7, making this square up here an 8. And here we now have a 5, blocking over, making this a 5, and therefore this must be the 7. Remember the 5-7 pair we had here earlier, right? So the 7 blocks over, making this a 7. And this is the 2 we were talking about before. There's a 2 here and a 2 here blocking, so here must be a 2, and this square must be a what? A 6, making this a 6, by the way, and therefore this square up here must be a 7. This square, that's the last square, must be a 5. So this was an evil puzzle, according to Sudoku.com. Quite okay, not too difficult. I hope that you enjoyed it though, and that you will come back for more soon. Bye for now.